Good morning and welcome to the Fund It Fast Chat. I am Rochelle Butler. I am the Energy Manager with the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the first Fast Chat of 2022. I'm so happy to be back here with you all, and we have some great content coming up for you this year. We're going to get started in just a second. I want to make sure I get our housekeeping out of the way. Please make note that all of your microphones have been muted upon joining the call. This is simply to minimize background noise. As always, if you have any questions at all, I highly encourage you to go ahead and drop them in the chat box. You may do so at any point during the presentation. We'll save some time toward the end to address those questions. I would also like to invite everyone here to go ahead and connect with us. You can connect with us on any one of our many platforms. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, Spotify, or you can just reach out to us the old-fashioned way via email or by telephone. And don't worry if you didn't quite get all of that. You can find all of our resources on by going to our website at sjvcleanenergy.org. Again, that is sjvcleanenergy.org. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. So I'd like to take a quick moment and just point out some resources to you all. Since we are covering a grant program that's geared toward addressing the need for electric vehicle charging in the multifamily setting, I wanted to be sure you are aware of the other Fast Chat webisodes where we've covered similar topics. As it turns out, we've spent a lot of time discussing EVs and other alternative fuel vehicles and their infrastructure. I encourage you to check them out. There's a ton of helpful information there, everything from utility-funded EV charging programs to electric vehicle rebate programs. Last but not least, we did a webisode on the Southern California REN multifamily program. So if you are in the SoCal Edison service territory, this program may also be of interest to you. And while you're over there, please do us a solid and like our videos and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. This helps other folks just like yourself to find our content. So this morning's topic is the reliable, equitable, and accessible charging for multifamily housing program. And from here on out, I'm going to go ahead and refer to it as REACH because that is an absolute mouthful. The REACH program is actually part of a much larger program, which is administered by the California Energy Commission, or CEC for short. The larger program is called Clean Transportation Program, also commonly referred to as the Alternative and Renewable Fuel and Vehicle Technology Program. So what is this program and what does it do? So I'll go ahead and answer that question by, I have the purpose here, the statement from the website, to demonstrate replicable and scalable business and technology models for large-scale deployment of electric vehicle charging infrastructure capable of maximizing access and EV travel for multifamily housing residents. Proposed projects must include charger installations that will benefit and be used by multifamily residents within disadvantaged communities, low-income communities, or a combination of both, and are encouraged to pursue installations for affordable housing. So all of that wrapped up into one. So let's transition to the program timelines. What are we looking at in terms of how this program is going to roll out? Some of these dates admittedly have already passed, but I included everything so that you can get a full picture of the process and have an idea of what resources may already be out there for you to take advantage of. So first, the official release of the solicitation was on November 24th of 2021. The pre-application workshop took place on December 9th of last year. I will include a link to the recording of that workshop as well as a link to the slide deck unless you would like to take a look. Be sure to look out for that information in our follow-up email that goes out later on this afternoon after the Fast Chat. Next, applications are due on February 18th, 2022, which is just a little over 6 weeks away. Award notices are projected to go out sometime in May of 2022. And last but not least, the CEC business meeting, as well as the anticipated start of the projects, are also projected to occur during the third quarter of this year. So who is eligible to apply? So this is probably the easiest question to answer on the whole topic, because all public and private entities are eligible to apply, with the following caveat. So the first one being that they must accept the Clean Transportation Program terms and conditions without negotiation. If you have some concerns about what this might look like, I will be sure to include a link to the terms and conditions in case you want to take a look. That will also be in the follow-up email that goes out later on today. And then finally, the second caveat is the entity must also register with the California Secretary of State and be in good standing to enter into an agreement with the CEC. So those are the only caveats. So now that we've got that technical stuff out of the way, let's talk about potential award amounts. Total amount of funding up for grabs through this opportunity is $8.5 million. That's the total pot. The maximum individual award amount is $3 million, which is a pretty large amount. In some cases, however, match funding is required. So if your project includes DCFC chargers, DCFC, if you aren't familiar with the acronym, stands for Direct Current Fast Chargers. You may also hear people refer to them as DC fast chargers. DC fast chargers or fast charging is in the same category of level 3 charging, along with Tesla supercharging. So just a little side note for you. If your project does include a DC fast charger, you will be required to match funding of at least 25%. Additionally, 50% or half of the match funding must be a cash match. But if you don't have any DC fast charging included in your project, then there is no match funding requirement for other eligible projects. So something to keep in mind there. So here's the fun part. Let's talk about project requirements. All of the projects must meet the following requirements. So they must demonstrate a business and technology model that serves multifamily residents specifically. Now, this is not necessarily that they must serve multifamily residents exclusively, but I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. The next requirement is that the project must serve a minimum of 100 multifamily residential units. The final requirement is that the project must install a minimum of 50% of a project's EV chargers within disadvantaged communities and or low income communities. And I'm sorry, that wasn't the last requirement. The last requirement is that the project must be located in one of 2 project areas. So I'm going to talk about the project areas really briefly, just so you can get an idea of what that looks like. So here on your screen, you'll see a map of California. I put a line on the map to show where the divide is roughly. I couldn't quite do it by county borders, but here's the thing to remember where this is concerned. Everything from Monterey County, Fresno County, and Mono County and north is considered Project Area 1 or Northern California. Everything south of those counties is considered Project Area 2 or Southern California. So when the requirements mention that your project cannot cross project areas, just remember they're talking about quite a bit of area there. So something to keep in mind. Moving along, I'd like to talk a little bit about what an eligible project looks like. So eligible projects can install chargers on site, off site, or it can be a combination of both. So an eligible project can also include level 1, level 2, DC fast chargers, mobile chargers, or any combination of these. So there's quite a bit of flexibility there. There are a couple of exceptions for off-site installations, however. If your chargers are installed off-site, they must be within 1/2 mile of the multifamily residence it is intended to serve if it's level 1 or level 2. If the project includes a DC fast charger, it must be within 5 miles of the multifamily residence it is intended to serve. Also, as I mentioned just a moment ago, projects must be installed in one project area only. They must comply with EV infrastructure training program requirements, which is AB 841. They must maintain at least 97% uptime for 5 years after commissioning. They must meet customer service requirements if they will be open to the public. So again, there's a little bit more flexibility. They can be open to the public or they can be privately housed. And finally, they must have capability to collect, analyze, and report data. All right, I'd like to touch really briefly on project costs because this is a reimbursement-based program. So it's important to have a good idea of what costs will be approved as you're thinking about possibly going after this opportunity. I won't do everything in detail, but for the most part, items such as electric vehicle supply equipment, transformers, electric panels, conduit wiring, and meters are all approved costs of the program. Also included in that category are DER or energy storage equipment, solar panels that are separately metered for EV charging, installation costs, and planning and engineering and design costs. Those are all included in the eligible costs category. Now, some items that are ineligible include standard outlets. I know that seems a bit obvious, but I suppose we have to list it. Vehicle purchases, unfortunately, the grant can't be used to purchase vehicles. Distribution grid or other equipment costs otherwise covered by programs, or tariff rules of the electric utilities. So that's kind of a biggie there. Utility service upgrade costs covered by the utility or costs related to processes to comply with otherwise applicable legal requirements. So that's what you have in your ineligible cost category. So now when I'm considering this grant opportunity from the perspective of one of our local government partners, and I think about this is a really big project, a huge potential award amount, and so it can be a tremendous undertaking. And so the best way to go about something of this magnitude is to get partners, partner organizations to help tackle this project. CEC has a tool called Empower Innovation. I have the website listed here on this slide. I will also include it in the follow-up email you'll all get after the call this afternoon. This tool is a really great way to find other funding opportunities, but it also serves as a means to connect organizations who are working on the same projects, looking at working on the same projects so that they can combine their resources. So please take a moment, take a look at Empower Innovation when you have a chance. I believe you'll find some helpful resources there. And there's everything I have on the REACH program, so I'm going to pause very briefly here. I want to give folks a couple seconds to input any questions you might have into the chat box. And while you're working on that, I just have a couple reminders for you. Please remember, I know I keep mentioning it over and over, but please look out for that follow-up email after the call today. We always include links to any related fast chats that we've related to the topic that we've talked about. We'll include links to those fast chats. We also include a link to the recording of this fast chat. So if you maybe couldn't stay for the whole one, or you know someone that could benefit from hearing this information, please go ahead and forward it over to them. We will also include links to any other important items regarding the grant program that we discussed during the call. So look out for that. Lastly, take a quick second and go ahead and add it to your email contacts. We want to make sure that you are receiving our communications and you're staying up to date on what's going on around the partnership. And that email is info@sjvcleanenergy.org. All right, I'm going to take one more quick peek at the chat box. questions. I hope that means I explained everything clearly enough, but if some questions come up after the fact that you think about, please feel free to reach out to us and any of the avenues that we have available. What's next for the Fast Chat? So we are kicking off this first quarter of 2022 we just talked about the EV infrastructure. We just talked about the REACH program. Next month, we will talk about the Clean Transportation Program, Rural Electric Vehicle Charging. So that's what's coming up for next month. And then on March 8th, we are planning an in-depth, as in-depth as you can get in 20 minutes on microgrids, and I think that will be really fun and engaging. So I hope to see you there. I hope to see you at all the Fast Chats coming up this year. But whether you can or can't make it, I know we're all busy people. Just remember, all Fast Chats are recorded and can be accessed through our website or by going directly to our page on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. I wish you a very happy new year, and I hope you have a wonderful week and stay safe and stay healthy.